Time never stops moving, but sometimes it moves so slowly you can almost feel it breathing. Tonight, we visit Jefferson County on the edge of change. A quiet moment between 2 centuries where the old ways still lingered and new inventions lit up the dark. Trains hummed across the distant fields. Radios crackled. People held tight to what they knew, even as the world began to shift beneath their feet. So close your eyes. Let the stillness settle around you. And drift with me now as we walk once more through time. By the time the 19th century began to fade, Jefferson County was no longer the same place it had been. The war had passed, but its shadow remained, soft and long. In its place came something new. Smoke from chimneys, clatter from rail cars, and the hum of machines. Voices speaking languages that hadn't been heard here before. The farm still stood, but the world was changing. And the people of Jefferson County were changing with it. As the 1870s turned into the 1880s, the rural quiet of Jefferson County shifted. Carthage expanded with pulp and paper mills. Watertown became a hub for industry, with ironworks, textile factories, and one of the largest button manufacturing plants in the country. Railroads stitched towns together like thread through a quilt. And trains carried not just freight and people, but ideas, fashions, and a faster pace of life. Someone described it as, quote, "The whistle of the train has become as familiar as the rooster's crow. What once took a day by wagon now takes under an hour," end quote. Still, farming remained the country's backbone. New equipment, improved roads, and mail-order catalogs brought the outside world to even the most remote homesteads. In Adams, Chameau, Theresa, new storefronts rose. Brick replaced clapboard. Horse-drawn wagons shared the road with early bicycles and the occasional steam-powered contraption. Schools expanded, and so did the newspapers. Entertainment became more accessible, from traveling vaudeville shows to local bands playing town greens under gaslight lanterns. Church attendance was still high, but now shared space with temperance rallies, political debates, and the earliest whispers of women's suffrage. A letter from Edith Merrill, Watertown, 1889. Quote, "I do not see how God can object to women voting. We give birth, teach His word, and pay tax on our land. Surely that is enough to earn us a say in things," end quote. New names began to appear in church rolls and school ledgers. Families from Ireland, Germany, Italy, and Poland arrived in increasing numbers, seeking farmland or mill work. Some spoke little English. Others brought trade and crafts that transformed local economies. Tensions rose at times over wages, religion, or what it meant to be American. But Jefferson County, like so many northern communities, quietly adapted. In Black River, a German family opened a bakery that still stands today. In Cape Vincent, a Polish priest preached to packed pews, alternating between Polish and English. Diary entry: Mary Ellen Kennedy, Ellisburg, 1893. Quote, I sat next to a girl named Magda. She taught me how to say thank you in her tongue. I taught her to skip rope. End quote. By the 1890s, the future was crackling through wires overhead. Electric lights flickering in Watertown and soon in outer villages. Telephones were rare, but growing. The pace of life had quickened. But even as new technologies arrived, the rural rhythm remained. Farmers still rose before the sun. Cows still needed milking. Children still walked to one-room schoolhouses down dirt roads. The Watertown Reformer editorial, 1896. Quote, let us not mistake speed for progress. A bright light does not always reveal better truths. End quote. The turn of the century brought both hope and anxiety. Would the past survive the pull of the modern world? Life in Jefferson County around 1900 was a blend of old and new. A mother might churn butter in the morning and read a Sears Roebuck catalog by lamplight that evening. A father might plow fields behind a horse, then travel to town on a railway car. Children were more likely to finish school. More women were teaching, running boarding houses, or running their own shops. Veterans of the Civil War, now elderly, marched in local parades under canopies of flags. Their grandchildren played baseball in empty fields. A letter from Thomas Beardsley, Lafargeville, 1902. Quote, I look out and I see cornrows and telephone poles. 1 foot in the soil, one in the century ahead. End quote. Despite all these changes, Jefferson County remained extremely tightly knit. Neighbors still shared harvests and helped raise barns. Church picnics and firemen's parades filled the summer. Winter dances lit up Grange halls and the Masonic lodges. A county fair in Watertown could draw thousands, and a small town newspaper print. They didn't just talk about headlines, but who visited from out of town, who fell ill, and what pie won first prize. Carthage Republican Tribute, 1904. Quote, Mrs. Carla Reitman's cherry pie was deemed the best this year. The crust, we are told, was divine. End quote. It was a world full of both hardship and tenderness, a place where people still depended on one another, even as the world outside kept changing. With the new century also came new losses. The last of the Revolution's grandchildren were dying. Civil War monuments became more common than the veterans that they honored. Old farms were sold. Family names faded from deeds and directories. But memories held on in quiet ways, and heirlooms passed down, and names carved into stone, and stories told on porches at dusk. And through it all, the land remained. Rolling fields, winding rivers, crooked stone walls that no longer marked anything but time. The Jefferson County of 1905 was not the county of 1805, but those echoes still remained. You could still walk a field and hear the hush of wind through old trees. You could still sit by a grave and imagine the stories whispered there. Times move forward, but it also lingers in the letters, in the laughter, in the memory of warm kitchens and frost-covered barns. Thank you for walking with me through this changing world. We'll return again soon to listen a little closer and to remember what the stones cannot say out loud. Sleep well. Good night.